Now, our next guest has impersonated me as a news anchor on TV and on film, but joining me, he also shares my last name. I've got my brother and the actor Greg Perrow joining me here on the couch. Greg, how are you?
I'm good. How cool is this?
It's pretty fun. I love having you here. So you've been a reporter before on TV and on movies, but excited to have you here. So you're an actor. Tell me about your life.
I am an actor, Kimberly.
I already know about his life, but tell our fans
First
about
of
your
all,
life.
how cool is this? Like, I am sitting on your show talking about my show.
I
Isn't that
know.
awesome?
It's kind of weird.
That's cool.
It's great. So you've got a new show coming out, but before we get into that, let's talk about acting. Tell me, how did you get into it? What do you love about it?
Wow. Okay. So, long story short, how I got into it is our mother convinced me to do
Our momager.
a musical theater when I was like, I think 15. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. And then I heard about a friend who did extra.
You could drive. You had your license.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I heard about a friend who did extra work, and I saw all the cameras and the lights, and I just thought it was amazing. So that's why I got into film. Moved to California, and been pursuing it ever since.
You're in LA, so you've been pursuing it for a long time. You know, we've seen the ups and downs of it. So, as an actor, what's been the highlight so far? What has been the hardest part of it? Have you ever wanted to quit?
All the time. No, I'm just kidding. It's a difficult industry to pursue. I mean, you audition all the time, and your heart goes out to wanting to be a part of these productions and these roles. But a lot of the times, people don't get to see the work we put into our auditions, and then we never hear back. So it's a very challenging industry to be a part of. But it's a long game. And I always say, if you stay at it, you keep working at it, then eventually it just gets to be your turn. And so fortunately, I never quit, and I have had some very cool opportunities so far. And yeah.
You really are. So the one opportunity that we're really excited to talk about today is your new show called Blue Ridge. It's a brand new series based off of a movie that was released in 2020. Tell me about Blue Ridge. Tell me about the character. Yeah,
Blue Ridge. I'm super excited for this one. It's based off the movie. It was starring Jonathan Sheck, and then it's created by Gary Wheeler. They decided to do a television series. It's a really cool action drama. Think like CSI meets Yellowstone. Okay. But the cool part is it's family friendly. So you get to enjoy it with your kids, and everybody can really watch it. And I'm really proud to be a part of a project like that. So
who's your character?
I play RP. I'm a deputy to the sheriff. So it's really fun. My character, he has an interesting perspective because he's from the town of Blue Ridge versus the rest of the department is not. So I have this cool relationship with the locals, but yet I have to be loyal to the law. And so it's kind of fun conflict that arises.
It's true. Well, really cool. I got to go on set with you in April and watched you film, and I think it was a really fun scene because you were chasing a bad guy who jumped out of a window, and you were like running after him with a gun. I loved watching it. It was so fun. Yeah. So when does the series drop? Tell me about it.
April 7th, and everybody can go to thecowboywaychannel.com to find out some more information about it. So
that's great. And then obviously we can follow you along on your Instagram and other things as well. So acting, I want to know, if you had if you had one piece of advice to give to anybody that wants to get into the field of acting, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Think long term.
Yeah.
Definitely think long term. And I always say too, it's very important to have a job that you're passionate about that can support your dream. Because, acting, you can be working nonstop, and then out of nowhere, you're not working for 6 months or a year. So you still need to work, right? And I think a lot of people burn out sometimes by taking on these jobs that they don't enjoy to support their dreams. So new actors, I always tell them, obviously get in class, just get as involved as possible. Go to local schools and do independent films and do workshops, but make sure and have that job that you still love that can be flexible and support your dream. That way you can stay in the game long term, because that's what I believe it takes.
Well, that's true, and especially for you as an actor, you had COVID that hit, and then you had the actors' strike and the writers' strike. So what did you do in the off term, or the off season, I guess you could call it?
I love cameras. I love being on the other side of it as well. So I do photography, I do videography. So that is kind of my passion in how I work when I'm not on set working. So that's what I do.
Yeah, so photography, videography, it doesn't have to be creative. You actually do a lot in the corporate side, and for weddings.
It's still creative. It's still creative. Come on.
Sense, like,
lighting angles.
People don't think about. I think as an average person, you don't necessarily think about that side of it, but it is. You've got to think of it, and the work that you do and the editing that you do is really great too.
Yeah, because my dream someday is to own my own production company for film and television as well. So, but acting is already the passion. It's the dream. So you have to focus. You have to apply your energy, and that's what I'm doing right now. And I'm just so stoked that I've had the opportunities that I had. I've been able to work with like Charlie Sheen and Mandy Moore, and a really cool, just very quick story is I got to work on Walking Dead one time, and that was so trippy because I've watched that show for many, many years. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, you're lying on the ground and you hear the walkers coming by. They're like, "Wah." It's such a trippy feeling. So that was a lot of fun.
I mean, I've been watching you audition for that show for years. And to this day, you made the final
I got
episode?
The last season.
The final season. He's on the show.
One episode, but I got him there.
I get so many texts from friends that say, hey, did I just watch your brother die on The Walking Dead? Yes, you did.
I'm a professional dyer. Luckily, not in Blue Ridge. Gary, please just don't make that happen.
But you've done some really cool things. So what's been your favorite project, or what's your favorite part about being on set?
Favorite project, it's really hard to say. I had so much fun working on Left Behind, Rise of the Antichrist that came out. We grew up on the books. Dad had all the books, so that was very surreal for that to become a reality. Got to work with Kevin Sorbo. That guy's a beast. He's just awesome. Very cool director and good actor as well. That was a cool experience. Like I said, Walking Dead, that was such an awesome experience. I don't know. They each have their unique perspective. I mean, that's what I love about acting is you get to take on all these different roles and characters and scenarios and just really dive into them. So,
well, speaking of dying, you worked with Neil McDonough on The Warrant and Left Behind, and we actually interviewed him a few months ago.
Oh yeah, that's so awesome.
Yeah, and he gave you a shout out.
He's the man. Okay, that guy is such a pro. Just talk about working with actors. You get to learn from people, and just being across from him, he just walks onto set. His energy is just prepared, professional, and it's just really cool to see somebody like that and just take from them and learn from them. So
that's great.
Cool. Yeah.
So Blue Ridge, do you have a favorite moment from filming?
Oh man, everything was awesome. It was like being on set was like being with a family. I mean, this is my first series regular on a show, so it was a really cool aspect to not only come and be a guest on a set, but be a part of the whole production process. And so it's hard to say a favorite moment because just getting to know everybody, just everything from hair and makeup and just chilling with everybody on set there, and then going and actually doing and preparing your scenes. And I don't know, I don't have a favorite moment. The whole thing was just my favorite moment. So.
How do you prepare for your scenes? I know, I've seen it. I got to see your trailer with you and watch you do it.
I won't go into too much detail because I don't want to bore everybody. But I have a few different processes that I've learned over the years. I'll just go for memorizing lines, for example. I have a little process that I call the 10-10-10. And depending,
I've tried it.
Yeah, depending on the size of the role, sometimes it's 20-20-20. But basically what I do is I read it through very slowly, imagine the world, the stage direction, all the lines, everything. And then I say each line 10 times differently. So that way it doesn't become robotic because you don't want that to happen. And then lastly, I'll run it 10 lines. Now that's just the memorization part. There's a lot more that goes into preparing for a scene mentally because acting's just a focus. You have to achieve the world around you and forget about all the cameras and the lights and just kind of be here present in the moment.
That's true. So RP, so you had to kind of create who you thought he was. And so what do you do that? Like, I mean, you've always been great at imagining magic worlds when we were kids. So like, what do you do?
You know, it's cool. It's a growing process. I mean, to start, I work through a whole series of questions. You know, I try to get to know RP and who he is. And if I don't have an immediate answer from the script, then I create that world. So everything, backstory going from as early as middle school, you know, up until the current moment. What did he do when he was younger? Who was his relationships? What molded him? What's his faith? You know, what's his worldview? Because these help answer a lot of questions. But the cool part is you get to grow and the character gets to grow. And you might see this sometimes in television shows where you see actors really sink into their roles, which is very fun. So there's a lot of questions that are still being answered, but yeah, that's the exciting part.
I know, I think it's fun when I've asked you at times, you know, what's your method of acting? And you're like, you just do it. You just be. And it's true.
I think I'm a little more involved
No,
in that.
you are. No, I mean,
Yeah, you just show up and
I mean, kind of like today, he just showed up. I'm just kidding. But Greg, where can we go to follow you on Blue Ridge, to follow LRP, and all the other projects that you're working on?
Yeah, you go to thecowboywaychannel.com. There's a lot of different streaming options on there, so that's the easiest way. Just go to thecowboywaychannel.com. You get all the information there. My Instagram handle is Greg Perrow, spelled just like her last name, Perrow. Yep.
And that's it.
Yeah.
You've got the dynamic duo siblings.
Wait, are we out of time?
We are. We've got time for
Real
one last
quickly, Kim,
question.
how did you get into hosting?
Oh my goodness, so many different ways, but really it's because our wonderful, fearful leader, Danielle, took a chance on me, and I am loving being here at TVA.
Well, you do such an awesome job. Thank you for having me. This is cool.
He just did my rap for me. So just like you said, we're done. So Greg Perrow, ladies and gentlemen, great to have my brother here on the couch, and we'll be right back after this.